Good evening. Welcome to the Amateur Football Podcast with me, Bruce, your host, the best grassroots centre-back in the UK. Yeah, I am bringing that saying right back. Hope everyone is well. Let's go straight into it. Let me start with Division 1 from the Southern Vets Football League. The games yesterday, there was just one game yesterday. Johnson and Phillips beat LSU Masters 2-0. And this is the table as it stands right now. Independent Vets first, Sporting Central second, Masters third, Charcoal fourth, Leone Stars fifth, New Park sixth, Johnson and Phillips seventh, Glebe eighth, Metro Gas ninth. And the fixtures for next week: Glebe versus Metro Gas, New Park versus Johnson and Phillips in the Cup, Old Peps FC, I've actually had those guys on the show, versus Sporting Santos, and Charcoal Vets versus Leone Stars. Let's go to Division 2. Home win, Legends versus Bow Street. Away win, Norwood Lakers versus Kawuya. And Seagas beat Parkwood Rangers for Zip. And this is a table as it stands right now. Hollington first, Wallenham second, Seagas first, Catford fourth, Kawuya fifth, London South United Legends sixth, Bow Street seventh, Parkwood eighth, and Norwood Lakers ninth. And these are the fixtures coming up on the 22nd of April. Kawuya versus Bow Street, Hollington versus Catford, and Wallingham Vets versus the Legends. So again, thank you to everyone that's tuning in. I have the pleasure of bringing Sean onto today's episode, and yeah, we'll be kind of digging deep into in terms of what's kind of going on in Kent. His thoughts about the league and some other things as well. So again, I just want to introduce Sean to the show. How are you doing, Sean?
Yeah, not bad, thank you, mate. Not bad at all.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for coming on. Before we begin, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Football-wise, played a lot in sort of non-league football, sort of growing through. Done YTS at Welling when I was 16 up to 18, 20. Went abroad and played for a bit, come back, played non-league, enjoyed it. Then got old, decided to play Vets football, carry it on. I think that generation of football that we couldn't give up. And then sort of moved down to Kent with my wife 5-6 years ago. And then we sort of set up a Vets thing down here in Kent, sort of the Kent County League. So took a lot of teams over from, I suppose, about 7 years ago now. It was like a friendly sort of bunch of friendly sides off, and the Kent County League decided to get involved and said that they would affiliate it. And they did. So the first year, I think there was 7 sides. Second season, I think they decided into 2 divisions of about 6 or 7 in each division. And then I think it's just grown from now. I think it's just got bigger and bigger. I started playing for Larkfield. It was at the time. We won the league the first year we was there. A good friend of mine got me involved. And then we won the league. And then the gentleman that was running it at the time sort of, he'd done really well, but I think he lost a bit of interest. I think he didn't realise how sort of intense it was going to get at sometimes, which I think we all realised that as Vets managers. And then COVID hit, so then we decided that we was going to come out of Larkfield. They sort of give us an ultimatum and said, look, we've got to play on a sort of a park pitch. And us being over the age of 35, I didn't thought it was unfair for the boys to play on sort of park pitches week in, week out. So we decided to start Kings Hill, which is our home ground. Changed the name. We sort of pulled out of Larkfield and changed our name to Rubicon. A friend of mine was sort of was affiliated to the Kent FA and the FA on a Sunday morning, and went by the name of Rubicon Limerick. And we went under his banner. Kent County invited us in. So last season we had a bit of a nightmare, really, sort of player-wise, couldn't get players out to fulfil games, paperwork. So to be honest, they relegated us on that, which was quite upsetting. But I can understand they got the rules. But I think from us as a side, we sort of took stock of where we was. It was a good drop down for us, and obviously we've had a great season so far. Obviously we've not won nothing yet, but we've had a really good season, and we've got a couple of good boys who work with me as well. So we get all the paperwork in order, and we're up there now, and everything seems to be ticking over. And the squad is sort of there week in, week out, which I can't ask for no more, really.
Cool. Just to let you know that your face has frozen on screen, but we can hear you loud and clear. I'm going to continue. So, what 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
In football wise, or just a normal day-to-day life?
You know what? Let's kind of stick with football.
Intense. Very intense, very, very proud, and I suppose we're wearing my heart on my sleeve. And I think the boys who play for me, or we all play together, I think they'll realise that as well, that I'd give 100% for them if they give it for me, and I think they'll know that, and I won't let them down, and I know they won't let me down, which is the way we set out.
And if I was going to now revert those 3 words regarding your life, what 3 words would you choose?
Up and down, I suppose. Up and down. What can I say? Is up and down. I think football is a massive out for a lot of people. I think people realise going through the day-to-day drudgery of life, work life, home life, and I think football is there out on a Saturday afternoon. I think players of our age, our generation, maybe, we look forward to Saturday, look forward to playing Saturday, because it gives us that little bit of out because of what you have to do to maintain life, the Groundhog Day. And I think Saturday afternoon, for that hour and a half, people can forget about their life and just enjoy their football still, and no matter what age.
And why do you think no one's talking about the Kent Vets League?
I think the Kent Vets League is probably a bit overshadowed by the Southern Vets League. Obviously, the Southern Vets League is probably the best Vets League out there. I think that's proven by the stats that they probably throw out there regarding finals that they've got to, and sides they've had in there. One Bell, Charcoal, Stansfield was there. You know, there's some good sides. Defiance were a good side. There were some good sides in that league. But I think when you come down to the Kent, I think Kent football, I spoke to someone the other day, they said that the Kent Vets football in Kent is the biggest growing football across the county. So if things can't be going that bad, I think but there's some good sides, there's some good players, there's some good sides in Kent as well. And I just think if people forget about that, there is other leagues outside the Southern Vets League. If you look at across, I don't know, it's the Surrey, then Fannic League. There's loads of different Vets Leagues, and there's probably a lot of good sides in there. You look at Herne Bay's got to the Kent Cup final this year. Last year, New Ash Green got there the year before. Snodland, did you know that there's some good sides from coming out of Kent still competing with them sides? So I haven't been successful in the finals, but they've still reached there, still beat sides in that league to get there, you know. So I think there's a lot of good players, and there's a lot of enjoyment coming from the Kent County League as well. You know, I think it's run quite well. It's difficult, I think, because they run is it the step 5 or step 6 they run for Kent County. They took the vets under their arm, under the banner, and it has grown very quickly. Now they've got 3 divisions of 8, 3 divisions of 9, or whatever it is, and now they're looking to increase it again to a 4th division maybe next season, because there's so many sides who want to get into the Kent County League, Vets League, and it just shows you the strength of it in depth, and how strong it is really, and what good players there is to be in that divisions, in that league.
Yeah. So how was football viewed in your household as a child?
As a child, I had an older brother, and my older brother was football 8 years older than me, football mad. And my dad and mum obviously would just sort of come along with me and my brother. Really, my brother was 8 years older. He took it on from the mental peak, like from the start. Sorry, and I took it on after that, really, and played for different. I can remember Sunday morning standing there in the freezing cold, thinking, now you look at it, you think, why would they do that? But it just shows you how dedicated, and I suppose it is a part of how much they loved you, really, as a side. Where you go and stand there. And I remember times watching my dad district games, watching freezing cold. Why are you standing there, Dad? But I would never question that now, being a father myself. I don't think you'd ever question that.
Yeah. And was there like a crossroads for you regarding, if you kind of wanted to, possibly turn professional or actually kind of going down the upper route?
I never got the offer. As I said, I was at done my YTS at Welling. That was successful. Steve Finnan was the year. Steve Barnes, we had a good youth side there. But then I went abroad and played for a year. Come back. Mum wasn't well, so I come back. And then I never really had that try. I was a good amateur player, if you want to say, but probably not. I never really hit the marks that I wanted to play. Really, captain the Kent side for a long time, representing England with the Kent side as well, which is a good thing. We went out to Estonia and played. But apart from that, I think if you're honest with yourself, Priest, that you're either there or you're not. Like seeing Steve Finnan training every day, the man played in a World Cup finals. The man was a different level playing, training with him every day. And I think you feel you're there, but you're not really there. There's a lot more. I think there's a different level to be. I think you could say you're good yourself, but I think you've got to look at that level and be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you played in Estonia.
Yeah, I went out for the Kent. I played for England out there with the Kents. Or the Kent side got selected, and we went out there and played, had some trials, and we went out there and played. We played the Czech Republic, Estonia, and San Marino. And I think it was the region. It's called the Regions. It was called the Regions Amateur, which was the step 5. So Kent side, yeah, it was. Do you know what a great experience to win England kit and class yourself as that player, give the whole full treatment, which was great. We had a couple of mixed results out there, but the Czech side, I think the levels when we was out there was I think we was level 5, step 5, and I think their equivalent was like step 3, and it was like sort of their non-league sort of stuff. And we done well, we held our own out there, but it was just an amazing opportunity to go abroad and play for your country, and at any level, at any stage, at any level, and I kept the shirts and kept all the paper cutouts. It's nice to look back and keep it as a memorable thing, to show my children, and when they grow older, and show my wife, but she just ignores it every 2 minutes.
So for Rubicon, your role, you're the gaffer.
Yeah. Gaffer, kick washer, anything we try to do, anything to breathe. But do you know what? I love it. And I think if you asked a lot of managers out there, vets managers, they do it because they enjoy it. They love it themselves. And lucky enough, I can still play. 46 now, still playing. Like last Saturday was a pinnacle really for what we had. We got to a semi-final, played New Ash Green, which were a really good side. They beat us in the Kent Cup in the season 2-0, and we turned up Saturday, went down to 10 men after about 60 minutes. Done really well, held our own, and we got through extra time. And I don't know if my body's made to play extra time no more, to be honest, but. We done well. We got them on penalties, but I can't. Them sort of Saturdays, I think unless you realise what it's like to play at Vets football, and it's really the camaraderie that we've got as a side and got as a squad. I can say that, you fight for the boys. You end up loving them, don't you? Because they're your side. You stick together. And we done really well last Saturday. We went there and held our own for. Yeah, and then we got a result in the end, and probably we didn't deserve to win it, and they didn't deserve to win it, and that's why we went to penalties. But we was there, and now we're in the final. The first final as Rubicon. We've been going 2 years now, and it's our first major final. And obviously the league as well, which we still can't forget about, but that's in our own hands as well. So we've still got 7 games to go, still in a short period. So I think we'll be there or thereabouts, but we've got to keep going, keep getting the squad out. Boys got to keep showing the same dedication they've shown for up till now. But we'll see.
What's been the biggest change that you've seen regarding vets football since you've been in the community?
I think if you go back to different generations, to prove when I'm 46, about yourself, 20 years ago. Yeah, 26. Yeah, for 20 years ago, you played Saturday and Sundays. You gave everything to play football on a Saturday, gave everything to play football on a Sunday. Like no matter what, then you didn't want to let people down. You didn't want to let your side down. You wanted to go and play football. And I think the generations from now, obviously because of life has changed as well. Like, but I think all them that era are now hitting that 35 target, 40, 45. They're all hitting that era together. And still want to keep going, want to keep playing because you can't give it up. You don't want to give it up, and I think that's why vets football is growing so much because the generations of people, the players that you've had, they've known no different because we've had it all our life. But then I think if you're looking at, I think vets football will do a full circle because I don't see this happening in 10 years' time with the players that I may be wrong, but the players that are there now. Will they be generating or will they be still wanting to play in 10 years' time when they get into vets football? I hope so. Hopefully they are because that's what. Hopefully they are.
I mean, one thing that I've realised is that vets football has become a lot faster now. I think people actually take it a lot more seriously because when I started, I actually thought it was more like walking football, but it's far from it. You get ex-pros, you get. Players from non-league, really,
exactly.
who, people that actually look after themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a couple of boys play for me who one played in the conference for a long time. I've got boys who played like in the Ryman, Prim, and they've never sort of leagues. They come and play, and it's just like I think last Saturday I had a friend of mine come and watch, and he said to me after the game, he said, I couldn't believe how physical and how quick a vets game of football could be, and I think when people do come and watch, think it's a vets football. I think they just think it's all sort of middle-aged men just walking around, just passing the football to each other. But where you've got that bite inside you to go and win a game, and that what you've had for the whole of your life, it's not easy to give up. To Reece, and I think you probably know yourself that you still want to win. Your legs sometimes are not there, but your mind is there, and you still want to do it. And that's why it's so. So I think it's such a tough. Vets football is tough. Vets football is tough because you never know what squad you're going to get out every week. No one can commit to every Saturday or every other Saturday or the way things are. So one week you could turn up with 16, 17 players. The next week you could turn up with 11 players, 10 players, because that's the up and down of vets football. So if you can, to be successful, I think at vets football, if you can keep your squad together and your squad happy, then I think you will win things. But it is a very thin line, very, very thin line that you've got to try and put a good side out every week, be consistent every week, and because if you don't, you get turned over quite easy, and because other sides are in the same situation.
Yeah. So you've spoken about having quite a large squad, but I mean, again, there's also a fine line regarding ability of each player.
Yeah.
Where do you stand in terms of giving players a run out and also competing for leagues and for cups?
I think to be, I think for me as a stance, I think last Saturday was probably the first Saturday I didn't do it. I think if you turn up on a Saturday with your boots to play, you give your time up, you give your time away from your family, your time away from home, time away from work, you deserve to get minutes on the pitch. You're never going to keep everyone happy. And sometimes you do try, I try and keep as many people happy, but at least to get on 45 minutes of football, at least to get them half hour of football if you can, or be honest with players. But as I said, last Saturday was probably the only first Saturday that we was a semi-final. It was very close, and there was one person that didn't get on the pitch, and I think that's and I feel sorry for that person really, because he has given his time up, and to me, he took it in the chin. He was fantastic about it. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's not a nice feeling to leave someone out where they give their Saturday afternoon up to come and play football and don't get no minutes on the pitch. And it is a thin line between wanting to, of course, listen, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to win every game. Of course you don't. Of course you do. And I want to be successful. Of course I do. But I think sometimes you've got to try and weigh it up about playing it and winding up about what you can play, who you can play, and what you've got available to Priest as well. As I said, I've got a game Tuesday night. I had 16 on Friday. Now I've gone down to 13 already. Like, so before you go, then I know I've got to get another game next Saturday. So I've got 8 games to play in just over 4 weeks. And there's no way I'm going to get a side out. Well, hopefully we'll get a side out every week, a strong side, which we will because we've got a strong side, strong squad. But you can't fulfil that many fixtures. And I'm not saying that's the league's fault. Of course I can't. But there is other ways of looking at it. The weather's not helped. Postponements have not helped. Us having a good cup run has not helped for us personally as a side. There has got to be another option to playing, to getting, instead of having 8 or 9 games to play within 4 weeks is ridiculous at 35. It's ridiculous. But it is what we are where we are. And as I said, I'm not blaming the league for that. They're still learning regarding the Vets side, as well, Vets football side as well. And I think they'd be honest with that if you spoke to one of them, they'd be honest. But yeah, I think you just got to be honest with players. You've got to try and, as I said, you've got to try and get people minutes on the pitch, because instead of giving their Saturday up for nothing, then I think that's unfair.
Okay. What's been the worst managerial decision you've made in your whole career?
Worst. To be honest, because it's only been a couple of years, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't like to say because I don't really know. I probably make him every Saturday, mate. The boys would probably tell you I make him every Saturday, every other Saturday. But I think they're all perfect. I think I'm perfect in every way, but I know I'm not. There is mistakes. Because you should do. Like, I don't know. Like, to be, there's probably loads of mistakes. I think trying to play is difficult because a lot of them are my friends, are close friends, and I think sometimes me being honest, want more out of close friends, and it causes issues. I don't want it to cause issues between me and my close friends when it comes to it, to Brees, because my wife is friends with, we're all good friends. The whole squad's all good friends, but it's not. But sometimes I think it's personal, maybe, and I don't upset my friends and that's the difficult part of it, to Brees. And I think they all know. They all stand by the decisions that we make. I think as long as you explain it to them, or you try and explain it to them, and sometimes it's difficult. But I think my worst decisions sometimes is taking it to heart too much regarding my friends. I don't want to upset them, and if they're causing an issue between me and my friends, I'd be devastated, because to be honest, my friends are going to be there a long time after football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd actually I would love to know what you struggle with mentally.
Losing. I think football-wise, struggling mentally is losing. Is that I don't think we like to lose. I don't think anyone likes to lose. And I know everyone says there's no such thing as a friendly, and I think there is, but there isn't. And I think if they're honest with themselves, that mentally, I think that's the one who's losing it and trying to make the wrong decision, or if we throw the wrong decisions away, then I think that's the hard one for me mentally, is if trying to get around to get a defeat and trying to get a side out every Saturday. That's it, where we are.
What about in life?
It's just, I think mentally, obviously, I've had ups and downs, marriage breakdown, children I don't see. I think mentally that, I think that they're the mental one. They're the ones that I think you try and walk yourself through it and try and smile. And to be honest, I've been blessed with a lovely wife now. I started again, and we've been blessed with a little boy now. I wouldn't say I was blessed with him because he's feral, but in fact, no, he's my boy, and I've been blessed with him, and I wouldn't miss a time with him, because I have missed time with my other children that I don't see and stuff. But that's the thing that I think has really rocked me personally. But I think if you look at it and come out stronger and try and put your wrongs right, if you look at it, a mistake is not a mistake if you learn by it. I feel, if you can learn by the mistakes, and then they're not a mistake because you've got something out of that mistake,
And if probably in the next 10, 15 years, if you could literally talk to your boy now about your career in football, and also one parting gift that you could send to him in his life journey, what would it be?
I think I would tell him just, if you play football for your life, because I think you have friends throughout your life with football, and I think you don't realise how many friends you generate through football, through playing football, playing against teams, other teams, how many people you know, you meet, and I think that's the way that I will tell my boy that if you to play football, any sport at any level, just to enjoy it, to have the camaraderie of 15 boys together throughout your life, you realise how many friends you have, because they stay with you. You know, you stay together when you go to school, and secondary school, you play football, and then them friends become your lifelong friends. And I've got a couple of boys in my team now that are my lifelong friends, you know, and I wouldn't change that. And that's because of football. And that's what I think you've got to thank football for. And I think you've probably got so many friends through football that you probably would never have met if you hadn't played football.
Yeah, so true. So true. Can you give me 3 tips or 3 pieces of advice to become a better manager?
Give up playing. That's the other thing. Because I still play as well. Yeah, give up playing. But I think I find it very difficult to watch when I feel like I can still play. For some 3 tips to become a better manager, I think I think the better is I think that question should be asked to players that you play for you, because each person would probably give you a different answer to say where I'd be better or worse. And I think if I personally put my hand on it and said, look, sometimes I do take it too seriously. I do take it to heart, and I know it's vets football, and I know people say it's only vets football, Sean, but to me it's not, because that's something I've loved for all my life, and probably all the boys who still do it now, I've loved for all my life. And like you see, like some of the boys' dads, they still come and watch us now, and still on a Sunday and Saturday, and they're in their 80s, 70s, 80s, and they still won't miss a game. And even when their son's not playing, they turn up and watch us, and because they've had that all their life. So I think 3 tips, I think from my point of view, is sometimes you've got to take a step back, and it's not let it bother you. One, not let it bother you, but try and take a step back and try and enjoy it as much as you possibly can. As 2, and 3 is that you have the right people with you. As I said, I've got a couple of my boys and close friends as well that help me, and they do fantastic, because I think sometimes you do need that person to talk to as a manager on a Friday night, and chew their ear off and try and ask them and talk to them, and because sometimes you don't think the right decision, you may have your blinkers on and just think, and they come back and go, but what about this, what about that? And I think that's another tip, that to talk to the people you get involved with football in your team and your squad, and then let them have their say. Because what I do on a Saturday as well, if one of the 3 are not playing, then they run the side, and they make the calls as they see it, is what they do. It's nothing to do with what I say then. They see it from a pitch, so I might see other things on a pitch, but they can make the decisions that they see from the sideline, and if, including myself, if I'm not doing it, and they can take me off or change things around if they don't think it's right. But I think if you talk to people, and then you're going to get the right answers back. And answers you might not like them, some of the answers, but at least they're the truth. At least then it opens your eyes and opens your mind to other ways of avenues, and what you can do, and where you can play people, and what you can achieve, really. And that's what I think we've done this year. We've achieved a lot by the 3 of us really sticking together and having a chat on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Saturday mornings. Because, as you know, in football to Bruce, your side changes Saturday morning. You can have 2 phone calls before 1 o'clock. You could have a starting 11. You think, oh, what a great starting 11. Then all of a sudden you've got 2 of them starting 11 haven't turned up, stuck at work, whatever, and then you're down to bare 11s because the 2. And it's so. I think that's the good thing about it as well, is that you're trying to counteract them phone calls. Mm-hmm. But that's the 3 tips I'd say. One is definitely talk to people, listen to them. One is to take a step back sometimes and not take it to heart as well, you know.
You've got, is it 8 or 9 games left plus the cup final? So yeah, you know, I might put you on the spot here. Who's the one player in your squad that needs to knuckle down, that like has the potential to really stake a claim, but he's just not there yet?
Yeah, I could say 13 names to Priest, to be honest. I'm not gonna answer that question, mate, because I know they're all texting me. I can see my phone going like mental. So I know. So no, listen. There's the boys there. The boys who got us in the semi-final. The boys who put a shift in last Saturday. They are. You know, I can't ask for no more. Like what they've done last Saturday. So players who want to get in the cup final side now, I've got to dislodge the players that turned up last Saturday and put a shift in. And that's just me being honest. I think if they asked me the same question, I'd be honest with them on the phone. Do you know what I mean? I think the boys who was there last week put a great shift in, and then for a cup final, you've got to, I think you've got to be a bit loyal to the boys who've done us that, of course. But they're players that now, as I said, I've got 7 league games. They've got to go and push themselves in to get into that cup final squad. As you said, I can't play everyone. Can't play everyone. I wish I could sometimes, but you can't. You can only play 11, and you have your 4 subs, 5 subs, and then that's all I've got. That's all I can take. But I don't think I can personally say one player, because the whole squad, for what they've done to get us where we are now, deserve to play. Of course they do. But I can only play 11, and then as we sit here now, I spoke to Danny earlier, my assistant, that we've got to go. We've got to send a load of stuff over to the league. We've got to try and be fair to the boys who was in the semi-final. I think they had all agreed that they put a shift in. So I think that's my answer to that one, mate. Without I individually picking players.
Come on. Oh, okay. Well, there must be one player that slightly frustrates you. Like, has a kind of, an absolutely magical moment, and then within a few minutes is just absolutely like off the head. Who's that player? Like,
me.
I need a name. Oh, Jesus.
Sean O'Keefe. That's the one. He frustrates the life out of me. No, so no, let's be listen up. For this, we all think we can win the World Cup. We all think we should be playing in the Premier League. Even at 45, 46, of course we do. We can all be armchair analysts. We can be, can't we? But when you're playing, you so when you're playing with players, I play centre half. We play a 3, and the 2 boys either side. Whoever it is, they frustrate the life out of me, and I probably frustrate the life out of them. But I know when the chips are down, they're going to put it in for us, because they got me next to them, and I'll do the same for them and the boys in midfield. And obviously, when you're a striker, you can just score goals, man, and think you're fantastic, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Really. So they that's it. It's true. If you listen, the boys, and I think Vets football is if you've got a centre forward, and I'll be honest, if you've got a centre forward or a couple of centre forwards who have got a turn of pace and know what the net is, then you've got half a chance of going somewhere. And to be honest, we've got a couple of them, 3 or 4 of them, which is good. But I think that's in any vet side. I think you'd be honest, if you spoke to another match manager, you said, I miss a centre forward. I'm lacking a centre forward. I need a centre forward. And I think that's the difference. Like Glebe, they've got Terry. I know Terry well up front, and Charco had a couple of good centre forwards. I think if you've got a centre forward that has got a turn of pace and can score a goal or knows when the back of the net is, then you're halfway there to being a good vet side.
What's the standard of refereeing in your league? Okay. I'm gonna say okay, because I've got 8 games to go. I'm gonna say okay, just in case any one of them listening or anyone hears what I'm saying. I'm going to say, okay, do you know what? No one wants to be a ref, and I'm my worst critic. I don't leave them alone, to Priest. And my boys tell me every week, shut up, and I don't leave them alone. But they've got a tough job to do, and no one wants to do it. And I've said to the league, we've had league discussions, they've approached me and said, look, you might want to agree, to Priest, that they're struggling for referees. Mm-hmm. I think Vets football struggles for referees. I think they're struggling for referees across the board with all football.
So I'll put a suggestion forward to the Kent FA and Kent County saying, look, why don't you want to fast track referees? Why don't you put the 16, 17, 18-year-olds in vet football for 2 seasons? Let them go and cut their teeth at men's football, the boys who have played at a decent level and know the ins and outs of the game, if you want to say it. And then go and fast track them, then go and assess them when they've done a year in a Vets League, 2 years in a Vets League. Then go and put them on to step 5, step 4, whatever you want to do, but give them a ground instead of just chucking them in. Give them a ground to go and cut their teeth in, and go and deal with people like myself, or go and deal with players who have played a long time and know what it's like to get on the referee's back, to try and not feel intimidated, but to learn it. But at a stance that it ain't going to go further. It's not going to go any further. That's like it's said in jest. It's said with let them deal with it. But then in the day, they are still referees. But at least then they can learn very quickly, and then go and fast track them. Then go and encourage them to go and do step 4, step 5. I think that may across the country. Go and set up where they come out of kids football and they want to go into men's football referees. Put them in a vets division for a year, 2 years. Let them go in there, but explain that to the vets teams at the AGM every year, every league. Say this is what we're doing. This is what we need you to do as a club or as a team to get more referees in the game. We want them to cut their teeth in vets football, and we need you to not nurture them, but like have that respect that you don't lose them because they're not getting threatened every Saturday or Sunday morning, or they're getting attacked. They're getting told, and at the end of the game, in 90 minutes, you shake their hand. No matter what's gone on, if they've sent you off or whatever they've done, that 90 minutes, you shake their hand, and they can move on to the next one. So they all learn from that experience that you've just generated as well in that football. And the league have took it on board, to be honest, to Priest. And I think that probably across the country, if they want to get referees, because there is no fact that referees are. No, why would you want to referee? I see some videos on Twitter and bits and pieces. Why would you want to go through that? Why would you want to give your time up to going through that? Why? I wouldn't. I would want my son to do that, and probably you want to do it. You know what I mean? So these people have got to realise that these people turn up for their 40 quid a week. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve. Listen, I'm the worst one to say I don't leave them alone. But at the end of the 90 minutes, I'll shake their hand and then go from there. But I think you've got. I think we've got as footballers as well to brace in all levels and all grades of football. We've got to try and get referees back in, because at the end of the day, mate, if you ain't got a referee, you ain't got a game.
Yeah, so true.
And that's it. That's the.
No, okay. Well, I mean, I've got a suggestion for you. Do you think teams would be prepared to actually raise the officials' fee from 40, let's say, to 70 or 80? Because then you will literally attract more people, and again, you know, I'd say the caliber of applicants should be better.
Maybe it's free, but then I'm going to spin the coin now as a club, right? So from our point of view, we pay £110 a week for a pitch. We pay £45 for a referee. Time you pay the kit to be washed is 20 quid. So you work that out, you've paid £180, £190 out a home game. If you've only got a bare 11 or 12 and you're charging them a 10 on a game, you've only got 120 quid back. All right, you have got your away fixtures, but in some respects, you're never going to generate that amount of money. So if you want to increase their fees by that certain amount of money, then that's going to be generated by, you've got to generate that another way. For other people to turn up and play football and play, well, I say, okay, well, it's 20 quid this Saturday, boys. It's 20 quid this Saturday, instead of it being at a £5 or a tenner. So I know what you're saying. Of course I know what you're saying. But I think if you are looking to get referees into the game, looking to get younger referees in to have a future of referees, because obviously the Kent League, they struggle with the scaffold, because the scaffold take priority because they're a step above. So they get the priority of referees. They take their intake if they're short. But I think the referee situation has got to be looked at across the board, and it has across the country. That it's probably just the stats tell you that our referees are falling away. And we had a couple of young referees this season and like last season, and then we played. We was walking. I remember we was playing a game. We walked across the pitch, and with the referee we had the week before, he was getting like 9 attacked by the 2 teams in like a vets team, and like we ushered him off. Me and a couple of boys ushered the referee off, and then I spoke to the rig about it after, saying, "What's happening here?" And the ref got suspended because he stuck up for himself. The ref got suspended, and he had like 12 or 11 players having a go at him, trying to get him into. So why would that kid want to come back? He's just been suspended for sticking up for himself. He's a 16, 17-year-old boy, but having a go at him. Why would you want to come back? Why would you want to? 40 quid.
So true. So true.
It's true. So I just think, personally, to get referees into the game, one is you've got to start them to get them to bleed their tooth in, to bleed in well. And then I suppose you can only discipline sides so much with referees, but when it comes down to it, if, as I said earlier, if you haven't got a referee, you haven't got a football match.
Let's talk about your cup final. And again, like this is something that you must be so excited about, right? And the lads must be raring to go. Even though there's about 7-8 games left. Yeah.
The good thing is we've got, like, as you shows you, we've got a League Cup final with two Div 2 sides in the final. We both beat good sides on the way through from the first division. So it just shows you how strong that both leagues are. All leagues are. All the 3 divisions in the Kent County League. But no, listen, I'm over the moon. We've done so well to get. This is our first final as a club, our first major final as a club to get to in 2 years we've been running. It's fantastic, like absolutely fantastic, and like to get all the stuff that comes with it. We're going to have our presentation the night after as well, our club. So we know that we're going to try and make a day of it as much as we possibly can. Win or lose, obviously winning would be fantastic, and as I said, you've got to be in it to win it, mate. If you're not there, you can't win it. But we're there, and I can't ask for what they've done to get us to the final. The boys, we've played week in, week out, Saturday after Saturday, quarter final, second round, quarter final, semi final, all in the space of 4 weeks, and then we had a league game mixed in between that, and I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited to just have a side that I can have our side, my side, my club in a final. Win or lose, we made a massive step forward as a club, and obviously we want to try and get the double. It's in our hands, so we've got a good opportunity to get the double. So we'll be there or thereabouts. But you've just got to play as many games as we can in a short space of time now. So as I said earlier, we just got to get the squad out every week and a side out every week, and then when we turn up, we've got to make sure we turn up and go and win the game.
Yeah. So you are sitting third right now, but you've played 9. So there is a strong possibility that you could actually.
Yeah, well, as I said, we threw some silly points away against Larkville. I think we turned up in a bad pitch after it was sort of after the Lord Mayor show. We played Midway in the second round the week before and got a great result 2-1. And we got Larkville. Larkville is sort of a friend side of each. We all know each other, but we turned up, windy day, bad pitch. As soon as we turned up, I think even myself, we could see that we didn't want to be there. We went one up, shots. Then we went went 3 top. We tend to go, and the ref would give a penalty against us, and it was strange. But we'll be there. As I said, we'll be there or thereabouts. We'll be there, and hopefully, I'm not counting my chickens too thingy. I don't want to be too. So we've got to have the right attitude, the right man attitude. But we'll turn up at the final. We'll be there, and then we'll give them a good game. And obviously, I know they'll give us a good game, a good side as well. We've played them twice in the league so far. I'm lucky enough to beat them twice, but as you know, that don't mean nothing. So we've got to see us through now to the end of the season. We haven't, as I said to the boys the other day, we haven't won nothing yet. We're in the cup final. Let's put that to bed now for 6 or 7 games. Just go and win the league, and then we'll cut to the final and take that as a one-off, and we'll have a great evening after for the presentation and as the cup league and cup winners, really, which would be nice, but a long way to go.
And what makes Rubicon Limerick FC so special? And literally, there's one word I don't want you to say, like one sentence. I don't want to say we're a family club, because that, I
No.
want to put that out of the window.
Do you know what, Tabrice? We ain't. We're in a family club. We ain't. No, we ain't a family club. I hate them all. Don't really care what they do. No, they. What makes us so think is that we've got a friendship bond, if you want to call it. We're friends that you don't want to let your mate down. You don't want to turn up, and that's what the boys have generated this year. We've tried to generate that you don't let your mate down. You don't want to let your mate down. So what makes us a bit special is that we are quite tight knit. We are a tight knit squad. We are a tight knit club. And we try to keep it like that as well. And I think if we lose that as lose our way a little bit, and I think things will go the other way because players come in and out. But I think if you keep your nucleus together as a side, as a squad, that we are all friends. We are, as I said earlier, the girls are all friends together, and the kids together. We've created lots of stuff like Ruby Crash, we call it, on a Saturday as well, where some of the older kids look after the younger kids so the dads can play football. And these are the things that we've generated as a club, and that's why we're special. That's why we're special, is that because all of us look out for each other, want to be there for each other in respects of not even just football, like for players who can't play or who had some bad injuries and like missing seasons. We make sure they're okay still. Once they're one of us, they're going to be one of us. And that's quite cheesy to say, but we look after your own, Tabrice, I think, in that sense, and that's what we've tried to do.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to know more about you and also the club, how can they contact you?
I think we have got a Twitter page, mate. It's not the best because I set it up, so I'm like a caveman when it comes to them sort of things. I think one of the boys said to me the other day, said, "Have we got an Instagram page?" I was like, "Speak to someone else. I ain't got a bloody clue." So if we want to set something up, then I've got no problem with that, setting it all up. But yeah, we're on Twitter, and we're on the Kent website, and we're on the Kent League. And if players want to get involved in the Kent, as I said earlier, the Kent County League is one of the. It's a strong league. It's a strong football league, and as I said, it just shows you with the Kent Cup, the Kent Cup. You obviously got Armband this year. You had New Ash Green last year. It's not the year before. So these clubs are being the Kent clubs are being represented against the Southern Vets clubs. And as I said to you, I'm not saying that the Southern Vets League isn't the strongest league out there. Of course it is. And I think I'm stupid to say that it's not, but. We're holding our own down here, we're holding our own in Kent, and we want to just say that some people want to come and play football, want to get involved in the Kent side. If you're living in the area, then there's loads of sides around here that want to play football and want players to play, and then to generate. That's what I moved to Kent 5 or 6 years ago, and I had a good friend who got me involved, and now I've got so many friends through football down here, and it's a way of meeting so many people as well, and getting involved in something quite special.
Amazing. Sean, manager of Rubicon Limerick FC, thank you so much for coming on. And again, thank you to everyone that's been watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week Sunday.